Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the KotLC Fanbase channel. My name is Joey, and today we have some more Keeper of the Lost Cities deleted scenes and extra posts from Keeper Summer off of Shannon Messenger's Instagram. I'm sure you all have heard this by now, but basically, Shannon Messenger had a baby, and because of that, there will be a delay with book 9, meaning that it will come out in the fall of 2022, which is a year later than it should have been. So to help us on this giant wait, Shannon Messenger has provided us with Keeper Summer. There will be 2 posts a week that will either be a deleted scene or a post with like a question or a fun activity to do. This is actually the 3rd video in this Keeper Summer review series. If you want to watch the other 2, which have other deleted scenes, that you can. And today we will be going over 2 deleted scenes from Neverseen. And right before we start the video, we are going to be live streaming tomorrow, Wednesday, August the 4th. The times will be on screen now. I hope you guys can make it. It's going to be super fun. We'll be there for an hour talking to you guys, chatting you guys about Keeper of the Lost Cities, and it's just going to be a very fun time. So starting off today's video, we have a post which says, which Keeper character are you the most like? There was a quiz in her stories, but the stories go away after 24 hours, so unfortunately I don't have it saved. I feel like with personality, honestly, probably has to be Dex. Alright, time for the exciting stuff. We have the first deleted post. Click the link in my bio to read a deleted scene from Neverseen. This week's deleted scene is from Neverseen, where Sophie and her friends finally catch up with Mr. Forkle. And I always say this, but I have not read or even peeked at any of these lead scenes yet. This is going to be my first time reading it and my first time reacting to it. Second deleted scene from Neverseen. This conversation also used to be a part of the scene where Sophie and her friends finally catch up with Mr. Forkle in Italy, but I cut it out for the same reason I cut the previous scene. It was slowing the pacing and not really revealing important information. I love showing how the elven world's problems are spilling into the human world, but I've already accomplished that with other things that happened in Florence, so this was redundant and needed to be trimmed. Signed, Shannon. Don't worry, we were able to get Geth into safety, Mr. Forkle assured them. But our stronghold has been destroyed, as has the human landmark we used to disguise it. Which landmark? Sophie asked. I believe they call it the Sphinx. I've honestly never understood what humans were thinking with that bizarre thing. But it's gone now, along with the pyramid we used for a decoy. All of Sophie's words felt too impossible. I didn't even know those could burn. Sadly, anything can burn with the right kind of fire. So it was Brant? She asked. We never saw the arsonist, but the flames were everblaze. Luckily, we learned from the council's mistake and kept a supply of frisson on hand. Still, this cannot keep happening. Keith snorted. You think? Are you ready to listen to me now? Actually, Mr. Sensen, we are. We voted to try your plan, with a few key amendments. Mr. Forkle went over the details, but Sophie could only half listen. She was too busy trying to imagine Egypt without the Sphinx and one of the pyramids. The humans must be freaking out, she murmured. Buildings can be replaced, Miss Foster. History can't. Those buildings were landmarks. Landmarks we helped them build. Sophie sighed, remembering a lesson from her elven history session on how the elves helped humans build the pyramids back when the Human Assistance Program was still in effect. The fact of the matter is, Sophie, we all share this planet, Mr. Forkle reminded her, and unfortunately, that means that sometimes others will suffer for our problems. But we, in turn, suffer for theirs. We've even had to build sanctuaries to protect all the species that humans are destroying, and find means to clean their pollution out of our water and air. I still think you should move your hideouts away from human areas, she mumbled. Sadly, that is not an option. Besides, you must remember that those hideouts have existed for decades. The Neverseen are only destroying them now because we have their telepath. If we learn how they are tracking him, their attacks will stop. Okay, this scene was very weird, and I do agree with this cut. I think it was a very weird scene, basically explaining how the Sphinx and the pyramid were destroyed. And Shannon said that it was supposed to show how the elven world's problems are spilling into the human world, but you're talking about a whole pyramid and the Sphinx, both of which are very famous historical landmarks, have been destroyed. I think that's either too dramatic, too over the top, but I do agree this should not be in the books. It was I can't imagine that being canon. Also, I forgot to mention that Troy's in this video too. He will also be giving his thoughts on these deleted scenes.
Hello everyone, my name is Troy. I'm also going to be in this video again. Let's go. I know you're so excited to see me. But for the first deleted scene, I actually think it's very convoluted, complicated, and Shannon did not have to even think about this at all. I feel like it doesn't push the plot forward at all. It also doesn't make sense in the time slot at all, because Keith mentions his plan and Mr. Forkle's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead with your plan. But that was originally pitched at a Louveterre, so I don't know how Keith and Mr. Forkle would have already communicated about a plan. It's just super convoluted, like I said. I actually commented on Shannon's post that I wish she cut out information like this on all of her more recent books, because you can clearly see the 800 pages could be trimmed down, like 200 pages. Like, we just don't need the immense world building. We don't need too much when it comes to reading.
Thank you, Troy. The next post says, do you want to play Keeper Bingo? Check off the boxes in the bingo card in the stories and share your results. And I don't have this one saved, but I did find someone else who did it that crossed them off, but you can still read them, and I'm just going to go through them very quickly. Right, Keeper Lost Cities, I've done that. Red Exile, yes. Everblade. Neverseen, Lodestar, Nightfall, Flashback, Legacy, or Unlocked. Laughed while reading. Okay, so I have the full 2 rows down. Swooned while reading. I don't think I did that actually. Cried while reading. I think I did that like once. Free Space. Told a friend about the series. Yes. Met Shannon Messenger. Yes. Wish you could meet Shannon Messenger. Of course. Have a signed book. I think I have 2. Dressed as a character. I have done that multiple times, mostly just for music videos. Follow Shannon Messenger. Of course. Wish you were an elf. Probably. Read KOTLC late into the night, definitely, 100%. Wish you were an empath. I actually don't have the one marked. Wish you were a telepath. I don't want any of those abilities, really. Read the books more than once, of course. Wish you were Sophie. Probably not, no. And this will be the final post of today's video. Click the link in my bio to read a deleted scene from Neverseen again. We love showing you a glimpse of Shannon's thought process as she decides what makes it into a scene and what doesn't. Here is a deleted scene from Neverseen where Fitz hugs Sophie that she ultimately cut to stay true to the characters and their development. Well, I can already tell from that caption that this is going to be very interesting. And again, I have not read this one. Third deleted scene from Neverseen. I removed the scene even though I knew all of my shipping obsessed readers would love it, because I felt like I was having the characters be aware of the flirting / romantic tension in a way that it didn't feel natural to their personalities. I realized that just because I was incredibly familiar with all the crushes between them didn't mean that all the characters were. Some of them were a bit more oblivious and others weren't quite ready to act on that knowledge. So I cut this to stay true to where the characters were emotionally in that moment. Those with sharp eyes may notice that Fitz's hair stayed green for a bit longer in this draft, and the rules and processes of matchmaking was slightly different. Signed, Shannon. They were halfway across the bridge when Fitz shouted, "Wait!" His green hair made him look like an alien as he ran to catch up with them. "Can I talk to you for a second?" he asked Sophie, then noticed everyone watching them. Telepathically, "What's up?" she transmitted, as she opened her mind to his thoughts. "I just wanted to say that if you can't sleep tonight, or you wake up with nightmares or something, call for me. I've heard your transmissions from halfway across the world. I should be able to pick them up from across the river." "But what if I wake you? Who cares?" "Are you guys done flirting over there?" Keith shouted. "Is this how it's going to be now that you're Fitzvy?" "Stop calling us that," Sophie shouted back. "That's right," Fitz agreed. "We're so Fitz." He grinned at her as her brow shot up, and then he hugged her. It wasn't a tight hug or anything. In fact, there was probably enough space to fit another person between them. But still, Fitz was hugging her. "Figure this ought to shut Keith up," he transmitted, killing the moment. "Call me if you need me," he said out loud. Sophie turned and walked away, keeping her eyes on her feet as she crossed the rest of the bridge and ducked inside. Della was kind enough to head straight for her room. Unfortunately, Biana didn't let her off the hook so easy. "So what was that about?" she asked. Sophie went for distraction. "I'm just worried about my family." "I know," Biana said quietly. "I'm sorry. I hope they're okay." "Me too." Sophie was almost to her room when Biana added, "But that's not what I meant, and you know it. Are you and Fitz?" Sophie waited. If Biana wasn't going to say it, she certainly wasn't. Biana narrowed her eyes. "You're going to make me bring up the hug?" Sophie cringed. This was dangerous territory. Biana had almost not become a friend because she thought Sophie was using her to get to her brother. and Sophie would never do that, but she also wouldn't have minded if Fitz noticed her on his own. Biana didn't need to know that, especially since the truth was so much less exciting. Fitz was just trying to annoy Keith, Sophie mumbled, attempting not to let her disappointment leak into her voice. And maybe it worked, because all Biana said was, Then again, when Sophie turned to leave, Biana called after her. You know I don't care, right? If you and my brother, it'd be weird, but we're friends, Sophie insisted. I know, but just in case, okay. Sophie wondered if it were possible to have a more awkward conversation. Apparently it was, because Biana had to go and ask, what about Dex and Keith? Now those were dangerous questions. Well, maybe not the Dex part, but Keith? They're also my friends. Biana arched one brow, clearly not convinced. Aren't we all supposed to be waiting to be matched or something? Sophie asked, trying to steer away from the trickier subjects. Not that being matched was any less weird. It was one of the strangest parts about being an elf. The elves had a complicated matchmaking system, and not following it had huge consequences. They claimed it was to ensure proper genetic diversity in their offspring, but the whole thing felt super unfair and like a disaster waiting to happen. I guess that's true, Biana agreed, looking somewhat mollified. Can you believe we'll have to register next year? Well, assuming you're still not on the run. Can you believe we'll have to register next year? Well, assuming we're not still on the run. Next year? Sophie asked. Yeah, we register when we enter level 4 at Foxfire. We don't get our matches right then or anything. That's not until we finish level 6. But we register early so the matchmakers have time to prepare our list. That's really soon. I know. Biana didn't seem nearly as freaked out by this information. She even laughed at Sophie's stunned expression. Good night, Sophie. Night, Sophie mumbled, stumbling blankly back into her room. Like seconds after reading it, that one was really awkward. That really hurt me emotionally to read that one. And not because I ship Sokeef, I agree that this should have been cut. It was all around just really weird. The information didn't match up. Like she said, the matchmaking wasn't the same as the other information we've had. That just felt like a fan fiction. Really, it really felt just like someone made that like a fan fiction, because that did not feel like real. I'm so glad that was cut. The characters would never do that. I don't really think that's really like, I don't know. I totally agree with this cut. Let's just hear what Troy has to say, because I feel like he can explain it better.
This next scene was kind of hard to read. It was kind of cringy because they were overreacting over a kiss, and I love the line, "Oh, what's with this stupid Fitzby?" And then Fitz is like, "No, we're not Fitzby, we're so Fitz." That like made my day. Like, Fitz, we love you for that. Yeah, I think in general my thoughts on this whole scene are that I am glad Shannon cut this one as well, because it doesn't fit right with me. It just didn't seem like it was part of the series. I don't like how Biana was kind of pressuring Sophie to make a decision, and also didn't really fit with Sophie's obliviousness anyways. I also think it's so cringy to think so much of a hug. Like, calm down, it's just a hug. Like, that's that's kind of my thoughts on that. And I don't know, I think the way she was talking about Keith and Dex also didn't make a lot of sense to me. She was like, those were dangerous questions. But Keith, question mark, Dex, like, I don't understand any of that, so I don't know. If someone can help me out with that, but like, I just think it's kind of complicated, and the matchmaking, like, I just think we need to kind of get rid of some of the romance. I'm glad Shannon did this, because the plot in Neverseen is so great, because we don't get a lot of romance, and I think it's so cool that Shannon focused on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video with me and Joey, and as always, make sure to leave a like. It means a lot to us. Subscribe to our channel down below for more content. Share our videos with your friends so we can get more subscribers, grow this KOTLC army. It's going to be so much fun. And also make sure to comment down below, what did you think of these scenes? What did you think of the questions? I am so looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. And I think that is it. Stay tuned for more videos. Got some special, exciting things coming, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys later. Bye!